Hey guys, welcome to my video channel. I mean, to be honest, when I started out YouTube, I or I didn't start out YouTube actually. It's more like I just upload videos because I just think it's more convenient for me to put on a YouTube and then just delete the video that I made. And sort of it also remains on the internet. So my juniors, if like I might not, I might never come across someone who's in the 2027 batch, 2026 batch in the future because I might not be in touch with them. But I hope this serves and this helps my students in my home medical college, that these videos exist and they can reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever social media they can, and I'll try to help them. So let's come down to a very controversial question: why USMLE? And the reason that I say it's controversial is because I think when you start saying why a particular country, the most natural tendency is to see the disadvantages of the system that is over here. And I, in the initial part of my USMLE phase, like after I had just cleared my step one, I I only saw from that perspective. But after doing my clinical electives over there, and also my entire philosophy of why USMLE is kind of different actually, which I'll come to soon. But it is not, the answer is not very simple, is what I'm trying to tell you. It's a highly personal decision, and it depends on you, to be honest. Um, so let me uh, uh, let me tell you why USMLE from my perspective, and let me give you a story basically of my journey. So when I was in my second year of medical school, I had some of my juniors, and they used to ask me, what do I want to do in the, whatever, like what are my plans for NEET? And I used to tell them that I'm not preparing for NEET. I'm mostly going to give USMLE. But when I was in Myanmar, I had no idea what USMLE was. I had no idea how to prepare for it. I had some bits of information here and there, like there are systems and you use first aid and you use pathoma, but how you actually study for it is what I did not understand, nor did I have any experience before, or nor did I have any advice from any of my seniors. There was one ma'am, Aruna ma'am. She had cleared, but there was always a big gap between us. Like it was harder to fill that gap, I think. But so when I was my second year, I was not preparing for NEET as compared to everyone else from my batch. Like everyone else had joined. In those days, there was no Marrow or prep ladder, or if it was there, it wasn't that very popular. And Bhatia had just come up, and a lot of people used to join dams and marrow and all these classes, and they were all studying a lot more than I was, like covering a lot more area than I was covering because I was doing it from textbooks like Robbins and stuff like that. So what happened was, during my second year, um, and so throughout my MBBS till my internship fourth year, I stuck to the idea that I wanted to give USMLE, but there was no particularly clear reason ever. And I actually entertained the idea that I will stay in India during my internship. And I went to one of the best medical schools in India. It's called Sion Hospital, LTMMC, and my internship was a clinical heaven. That's what I tell everyone. If you've studied your final year well and you know all the most clinical conditions, signs, symptoms, history taking, of course, there's a lot of grunt work involved. but you have to grind, and but you get to see a lot of different cases, and there is of course a lot of learning. But um, what I realize is that in in institutes like LTMMC, there is a doctor patient ratio problem, and that's not just unique to LTMMC. That's unique to, and that's not just true in India as well. It's true almost everywhere in the world, that there are far more patients as compared to doctors. And so um, I gave it a like. I actually was pretty serious about remaining in India up till July of 2022, when I gave my when actually, no, actually, I would say maybe even probably like Jan of 2022. I was pretty serious about staying back in India, and actually thinking about doing residency here. And I by that time I had actually not just experienced LTMMC, but I had actually gone to some corporate hospitals, and also seen the world from all ends as much as possible, like as much exposure as I could get, basically, because I just wanted some clarity, you know. And what I realized was there are, of course, very glaring disadvantages in the system. But when I went to the U, and of course, I was very biased that I want to pursue this USMLE journey. So when I went to the US, I realized that, of course, you don't have the same kind of problems that we do, but they also have a lot of different set of issues, different set of problems, which I don't want to go into deep into this video, because why make it unnecessarily controversial? But point being is that um, the problems that you see in India, they might be unique to India, but uh, there are also other kinds of problems that are there in the United States, and one should be, if one can ignore those problems and stay in the states, then I think it is important for me to also sort of make emphasis that you should be able to ignore this problem, the problems that you see in India, and stay in India as well. And the reason that I say that is because I mean, of course, if you compare like the salary, then of course in the US you have more. But was money ever a really important factor for me personally? I'm not really a financial guy. I don't care about money as much. I think I've always been more about academics and more. I love my field, you know. It just gives me joy to learn stuff and to experience healthcare, and just treating patients, helping patients. That gives me joy, and that is what I'm most happy at. You know, like my most happy state of mind is in a hospital, not at home. Usually, most of the time. But so why USMLE, right? So what I want the viewers, my juniors, to realize is that US cannot be a dream. Like, the country can never be a dream. You know, your dream has to be specific, something that you want to achieve in your life, something you want to do, and something, a grander aim, as I call it. You know, like, your aim cannot be to become All India rank 1 in NEET 2024. Maybe a good aim to have is you can become an excellent cardiologist in Mumbai. But what does that even mean, right? Because who, I mean, this is what, like, one of my juniors right now. She's like, she's about to start, like, get involved in the counseling process in for NEET 2024. And I just asked her, what is your dream? And she said that she wants to become the best uh, doctor in Mumbai. But what does that even mean? What is who is the best doctor? And if you ask different people will give you different answers. For some people, best doctors or best clinicians who are able to diagnose quickly and treat patients effectively and efficiently. For some people, some doctors are the best doctors are someone who sort of are easily accessible, even to the poorest section of society. For some people, the best researchers are um, the someone who are always updated with their knowledge and stuff are the best doctors. So depends on who you ask, and it's kind of a philosophical question actually. But um, so this is so when you sort of are wondering whether you want to do USMLE, um, PLAB, NEET, the number one question that you should ask is what things exist where I am. You should be completely aware about the things that exist in your country, wherever you are, and things that don't. And what I mean by this is, I'm not talking about high salary or low salary. That is like not going to be a part of this video. Unfortunately, I'm not a finance guy, so if you are interested in finances, you can ask someone else. I'm not that kind of a person. So what things exist where I am? So what do I mean by that? So let's say I would go to super specialty hospitals and also like tertiary healthcare centers like LTMMC probably, or KM, JJ, any of these top institutes or any corporate hospitals as well, and try to judge what things exist where I am. So um, what are the what kind of doctors exist there? You know, what kind of doctors? How do they practice medicine? Right? Uh, what like is the patient load too high? Is it moderate? What is it? What is their life like? Do they have work life balance? Right? Are they super stressed? Right? Mm, and the thing is, the reason that I want you to go through different kinds of setup is because India is a very diverse healthcare as compared to even to the United States and UK and most countries. And that's because and so just because you were in LTMMC, right, does not mean LTMMC represents whole of India. Just because you were from Myanmar, you did your residency in Myanmar, those 3 years does not represent your entire future. Those 3 years may be very harsh to begin with, but that life does not will not continue. In fact, GR1, GR2, and GR3, even those 3 years have very different life levels. I feel, of course, all of them work very hard, but I think GR1 works the hardest. Similarly goes for SSH, so like super specialty hospitals. What kind of life do they have? Do they have a work life balance? Is their life outside of work? And uh, and when you actually go through all kinds of or try to go through the most maximum kind of levels of healthcare, then you sort of start realizing that what you're trying to find also exists in India, because there is a nice work life balance even in India. I would ask any of your parents, or if any of your friends whose parents are doctors, you should ask them, are they happy in life? And most of the time they say yes, they are happy in life. Some people also say no, but that's their personal things going on in their life. But in general, I think they're happy that they stayed in India and They are all, I mean, I don't know any poor doctor per se, or someone who is earning less in India. So it's important for you to think like I mean, I think in such broad terms that, I don't generalize anything about India per se. Of course, I see. I mean, if you go on my Instagram and stuff, sometimes I do. I'm very hypercritical about certain things in certain systems in India, and that's always because I'm trying. I want to improve them, and I don't know. I just wish, like for example, I believe that in India, the medical education will improve when institutes like Myanmar becomes greater than LTMMC. Because your goal cannot be LTMMC. Your goal has to improve overall medical education in India. And I mean, I'm trying to find different ways to do that. Okay, so this is what I would, the first question that I would ask myself, or if you were uh, here, and trying to wonder, which path should you take. The first question I would ask is, what things exist where I am? What kind of research is done here? Yeah. Second question that I would ask is, where I'm going, wherever I go. So wherever I go, comma, what things exist there, right? And US also has a pretty diverse, but not as diverse as India, but they have like three tier systems, I would say. They have like community hospitals, then they have corporate kind of hospitals, but they're also teaching hospitals, community teaching hospitals, corporate teaching hospitals, and then universities, and then maybe a fourth category could be Ivy League schools, right? And each system gives you a very different experience. So I would say community hospitals in LTM in the US and corporate hospitals are like a mix of, like if you combine them, you probably get institutes like LTMMC and KM and JJ. University hospitals are more like, I would say, the best example would be probably institutes like probably Jipmer, you know, certain names, not all, certain names. And Ivy League would be Ames Delhi, probably. Ames Delhi, Tata Memorial, equivalent to that. Um, so, but the community hospitals over here will have different set of advantages and disadvantages, and I would want you to go and look into that, like what suits you, what does not suit you. Universities and Ivy Leagues are way more academic, and when I say academic, I mean talking about research, and we have to be like, research is a very, in my opinion, is a very big part of your medical education that is not really focused in our undergraduate years at least, and definitely not in postgraduate years as well. Maybe a huge part of it does come in super specialty settings, but not as much as you know in the US at least that I have seen. So these are the two main questions that you should be knowing before you make the decision of why USMLE. See, a lot of people will talk about the usual things: money, work-life balance, residence in India is hell. These are the common reasons to go to the any country apparently. But I don't believe so, because see, you get money here proportionate to the amount of money you spend in India. If you ask work-life balance, I agree residency is quite bad in India, but again it depends where you do. I would advise, I mean, after all my clinical experiences. I actually, if I were to stay back in India, I would very happily do a residency in a corporate hospital, and that is because of two primary reasons. One is that you become a good doctor. What does that mean? It's a very controversial thing to say that not a government hospital or I mean, if I was extremely smart, I would happily go to AIMS, but I'm not that smart. I'm probably much more average than that, I think. So a good doctor is something like someone who's a great communicator, someone who is a great counselor, someone who treats effectively, someone who has seen the commonest of cases, you know. And in corporate hospitals, when you go, you cannot behave like you have you sort of the things that you learn in a GMC, because in a GMC, you're doing whatever you're doing for survival, right? There are like thousands of patients coming, and you have to treat every one of them. So whatever you're doing, whatever habits you pick up there, does not work in a corporate hospital. And you know, you have to realize that most people will start a private practice. Most people will either be working in a corporate hospital, in a rural setting, or an urban setting, whichever they choose, but they cannot have the habits that they had in a GMC, right? They have to be more professional, and that is what maybe a good doctor is a bad thing, but I would say professional doctor. You become a much more better person. And the other thing about corporate hospital is that there is a better work-life balance in corporate hospitals, and I would like to learn my violin. I want to learn new languages, which I want to do at some point, and so it is definitely better. So if I were someone who's going to stay in India, I would actually go to a corporate hospital. And this mindset is very important because most people don't have that mindset. Once people get like under 5,000 ranks, somehow they believe that a GMC is the best place that they can go to. I don't believe so. The third thing is that in a corporate hospital, the research is also pretty good, because a lot of the practice that happens in a corporate hospital, because they are so why is research important? Research only comes becomes important when you are liable for your actions. So let's say someone asks you, why did this person, so someone is in a lot of pain, but he's asthmatic, and they want to you want to give them, like, they demand for a diclofenac or whatever, some NSAID. You tell them, no, I can't give you diclofenac, whatever, because you have asthma, and this tomorrow they have a lot of pain or whatever, and then they come and sue you. You can cite research papers in your practice, and that is why in a corporate setting, I mean this is a very broad stupid example to give, but I'm just saying, because you're liable for your actions, you automatically get groomed to be a little bit more evidence based than you would be in a GMC. That's what I feel. uh, Personal opinion, but this is what I really feel. So if I was in India, staying back in India, this is what my plan would have been. So why USMLE? That is up to you. At the end of the day, is what I'm trying to tell you. I had very personal reasons that I want to pursue in the US, and that is why I took up that journey. But um, why USMLE? For me, at least, I don't believe in this nonsense. Like this reasons don't match up. I'll tell you a very nice example of money. Okay, one of my friends earn about $70,000 as a resident, right? In his state, he has to give 22% tax. This comes to around $59,000 just through tax. Then he has to pay $2,000 per month for his housing rent. So that comes to around $24,000 per year for his just housing. So that's 59,000 minus 24,000. what is that? I don't know. 9 minus 4 is what, 35,000. Then he spends around $1,000 to $1,500 per month on food, right? So let's just say for easy purpose, let's just take 1,000. How much is that? $12,000. So 12,000, right? So that's what, I don't know, three and then four. Oh, what? Two, sorry, 23,000, right? So 23,000 divided by 12 is around what? Around maybe like 24. If you make it, it's like $2,000 per month, per year. Sorry, per month. Sorry. So he saves about $2,000 per month. That's about 2 lakh rupees, right? Yeah, I mean, it's not that much, is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, this number sounds like a big number, but it really comes down to a very smaller value than what it is. So, I mean, money is not really like it shouldn't be a huge deciding factor, is what I generally feel. It's okay if you want to earn money and whatever, but if you want to earn money, then you can go for a different field as well. Why come for medicine, right? But these are just my general thoughts. Uh, I didn't give you a very straightforward answer. I know that, and that's primarily because I don't want to reveal my own reasons. But if I were someone who is wanting to choose a path between these three for a particular aim that you have thought of, yeah. The third question should be, what is my aim in life, right? What is my aim in life? So, three questions for yourself: what things exist here, what things exist there, and what is my aim in life? And then you should decide what to do. Bye bye.